Alright guys, welcome back. Today we'll be building this simple homepage you can see right here. We'll be making it responsive and we will build it with HTML and CSS in this video, and in the next video we will be focusing on animations and using anime.js. Make sure to check out the designer of this actual page. He has some quite beautiful layouts on his Dribble page. Link is in the description. Also make sure to subscribe, like and comment. If you have any suggestions or ideas or things you want to see on here, I'll make sure to cover those. As I've said, in this video we'll be working on HTML and CSS to build out the basic layout, and in the next one we'll be focusing on other stuff. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is a header. So I've opened up the page right here. Let's start off. The first thing we're going to need is a header. Actually, let me just grab an image right here. It's not there. It is probably in here. There we go. That's what I needed, just so we have something to look at. I've grabbed a screenshot of that design. So first thing we're going to need is this header right here at the top. So we'll be writing out header. We'll need a wrapper for our logo, and we'll simply say Surf Shack right here. Next thing is the navigation. We'll need a couple links in here. How many is that? 6, I think. We'll simply fill those out with some content. Next one says photos. Next one says, videos. Then we have gear. And finally magazine. Let's make sure to cover those hrefs as well. Alright, that's it for our header. We actually don't need anything else for it concerning the HTML. Actually, let's just go ahead and write out our HTML so we can focus on the CSS later on. So next thing I have is a page wrapper for the content of the page, and I have split it up in a left wrapper and a right wrapper. The left one will simply include the image, and the right one will have all the content and headlines. So we'll simply say .left, and we'll use a background image in this case, so that's it, we don't need anything else. And then I have .right, and inside of it we have a content wrapper. Now the content wrapper then has a simple h1 which says raw deal, and below that we have a article wrapper, and the article wrapper will include a couple paragraphs. I think 5 is about right. Ashton Douglas, and we'll simply use some dummy text here, so we can copy that line, delete those, and paste. There we go. And yeah, I believe that's it for our HTML. As you can see, there's really not, it's already loading up correctly because we obviously need to delete our CSS here. We want to start off from scratch. Alright, there we go. That's our HTML. Pretty plain and simple. So I'm going to be writing Sass, and it's going to be compiled with CodeKit into a normal CSS file. You can just write CSS if you want to. I'm using CodeKit to compile it. Let's start off by defining some basic styles that we're going to need. So let's just say global styles, just to reset margins and stuff. So margin is going to be 0, padding is going to be 0, box sizing should be water box. And we will use a font family called Inter. You can get that one for free online, it's actually quite nice. And the body will be 100 viewport height units, height 100 viewport height units, and width 100 viewport width units. That's that, because we want it to be full width and full height, not more and not less. And overflow is going to be hidden for now, because in case anything extends over that viewport, we want it to be cut off and don't want anything to scroll anywhere. Let's focus on the header then. So the header is going to be positioned, what's going on there? Header, there we go. It's going to be positioned absolutely because it's going to stay at the top of the page. We're going to use display flex. Actually, let's just bring that up there. As you can see, it's already aligned the way we want it to, because if I take that out again, we have it below each other, the logo and the navigation. That's not what we want. So this is the way to go. Width should be 100 viewport width unit to extend it over the whole width of the viewport. And next thing will be justify content center to center it horizontally, and align items center to center it vertically. Padding, we'll be using some percentage values here, so 20% for the right, then 0 for the bottom again, and 100 pixels on the left. Next thing we're going to need is define a height, because that will be set. Alright, so there we go, it's already working. Now let's style the navigation a little more. The navigation should be display flex as well, like that. Should have a set width of 720 pixels. Justify content should be space between to space those links out, as you can see. Next thing, actually let's just get a little smaller. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is say margin left 30 pixels. That's just to space out the logo a little. Once we've done that, we'll also define a minimum width of 550 pixels, just so it doesn't get below that in case our viewport is smaller, as you can see. All right. Let's give those links a couple styles. So color will simply be white. Black, actually, not white. Text decoration, let's take that out. No underlines, nothing. Font weight will be a simple 400 pixels, and font size will be 15 pixels. So there we go. That's that. Now let's position the logo and everything. So logo, simply say .logo, font family. In this case, I simply chose Playfair Display. You can get it from the Google Fonts API. Font weight in this case is 800. Color, now this is white, hashtag FFF. Font size is 22 pixels in this case. Letter spacing, a simple 1 pixel. Position is for this one also going to be absolute, because it will be sitting at the corner all the time. There's nothing that's changing about that, so we'll simply define the top with 50 pixels, and left with 100 pixels. Okay, so you can't properly see that right now because it's all messed up and everything, and there's no background, but we'll see it later. Now we have finished the header and everything. Next thing will be the page wrapper, the left and right wrapper, and the contents. So let's focus on that. Let's simply say page wrapper. The page wrapper will need display flags. So we have the left and right wrapper aligned next to each other and not below each other. Then we'll say left will be flex 1. Whoops. And right will also be flex 1. We'll style that later. So they split up the space on the viewport equally. So one half will be left and one half will be right, because they both have a value of flex 1. Height will be set to 100 viewport height units. That's obvious. Now we can set the background image. We'll be using a URL. Let me just grab that real quick. You can use the same URL or you can choose another image, whatever you want. Background size will be cover, and background position will be center. Whoops. Center, there we go. And z-index will obviously be -1, so it's below everything else, and the navigation and content can sit on top of it. Okay. So this is not displaying. Let's see. Dot left. I guess we'll have to first define the right wrapper as well. So let's go ahead with that. Dot right. And again, flex will be 1. There we go. Now we can see the background image. That's working good. Let's see. And yeah, as you can see, flex 1 and flex 1 means they split up the space on the website or in the viewport equally between each other. So that's good. Next thing we're going to define here is, again, the viewport height, and display will be flex. And flex direction will be column. Whoops. And we will say position relative. Let's see. Okay. So we have that going. Right. So we need to set it to position relative because we have this header right here. And the best way to position this header responsively is to position it relatively to the wrapper it sits in, to the right wrapper, which is this part of the web page, and then we can just move it to the left a little bit, and this way it will be scaled properly when we size the page up and down. You'll see what I mean later on. So let's just style the H1 for now. Color is a certain orange. That's the color we need. Font family again is Playfair display. Font size is 100 pixels. Font weight is 800. Letter spacing should be set to 3 pixels. And it'll also have some margin bottom to space it out from the paragraphs. All right. Now, let's style the paragraphs as well. So the paragraphs will have a max width of 500 pixels. So They will not get larger than that, but they can get smaller if the viewport doesn't allow for more width. Margin bottom will be set to 10 pixels to space them out a little. Font size will be 13. And line height is 20 pixels. Okay, there we go. That's looking good. Now, next thing we need to take care of is the actual content wrapper. Remember, we have a page wrapper and we have .left, which is the background image. We don't mess with that anymore. That's done. Then we have the .right wrapper. We have styled that a little and positioned it. Then we have the content wrapper, which is where all of these are sitting in. So what we need to do with the content wrapper is we're going to have we're going to set position to absolute. Again, we set the right wrapper to relative. I can just show you that, background red. This is the .right wrapper. And now we have a content wrapper inside of it, which houses all of these elements, and we want to position it absolutely. So these elements will scale accordingly when we change the viewport size. We'll say top 21 viewport height units. That's a relative value again, to make sure that the margin we have at the top here is scaling properly. So that's good. And we're going to say left minus 50 pixels, because that is giving us this effect right here we have on the design as well, that the text is overlapping with the background image a little bit. So now what we need to change still is the paragraph wrapper. So in this case we'll say article wrapper, and we're going to say margin left 200 pixels. And yeah, there we go. So this is pushed back to the other side again, to the right side, and padding right will be 120 pixels. This is so the article scales properly and has some padding right here when the viewport gets too small. So let's just remove this again. And as you can see, our website is pretty much done and it's scaling quite nicely. The only thing that's, I think, still not working properly is just, give me a second here. Yeah, there's still something off about the navigation. So let's see, I think we have to push it a little more to the right side. That's what it looks like on the design as well. So let's see. Alright, so we have the header position absolute, display flags, width is set, justify content and align items is also set. Height is set, and then we have navigation, display flags, width, space between. Margin left is, I guess we have to just increase the margin left with another 0. Yeah, there we go. That's looking a lot better. So margin left, that's pushing the navigation to the right side a little more. So it looks a little more centered on the page. And now we can see everything is fitting. The headline is fixed at its position. The margin at the top is increasing and decreasing properly. And it all works out quite nicely. The logo is centered. Alright, awesome. That's it for today's video. In the next one we'll then be working on some JavaScript animations and probably also the actual mobile version of the site, because this is responsive for desktops but not yet for mobile. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you have any problems with it, leave a comment. I'll make sure to answer. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe.